What's up, everyone? This is James Hernandez. How you all doing? Hope you're all doing good, and welcome to a brand new episode of Characters Face Off. This is Characters Face Off episode 18, and this episode is going to be a battle between two fusion villains from two crossover fighting games. So it's going to be Dark Kahn from Mortal Kombat vs. DC versus Ultron Sigma from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That is right, we're going to see which of these two dangerous fusion villains from two different universes would win. And we're going to figure out who is going to be the deadliest fusion villain from a crossover fighting game. Is it going to be the one from Mortal Kombat and DC, or the one from Marvel and Capcom? So without further ado, let's get started. So first let's talk about Dark Kahn. So Dark Kahn is a fused form of Darkseid and Shao Kahn, and is the central main antagonist of Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. He is a dimensional immorality created when Shao Kahn and Darkseid were merged, when their respective means of escape were sabotaged in their respective universes. The resulting being from this fusion caused a blending of his components' universes, influencing and surviving remains of the original universes. Influencing the surviving remains of the original universes to fight to feel the resulting chaos, and it ultimately lead to Dark Kahn facing his components of mortal enemies like Raiden and Superman. So without further ado, let's talk about his powers and abilities. Now, Dark Kahn has the Omega Tremor, which he can slam his fist into the ground, creating a shockwave. This move can actually strike the opponents twice, once with his fist, and the second with the shockwave, which is very brutal himself. He also has the Omega Knee, which it can make Dark Kahn leap his opponent and bashing his knee on their faces, which is very painful and actually really hurts. Now, the next ability that he also has is the Omega Force, which Dark Kahn leaps into the high air and then he comes down like a meteor, creating a shockwave and landing his opponents. Now, Dark Kahn also has charging spikes to ram his opponents with a streak following behind him, and pretty much just like Johnny Cage's shadow moves in the other Mortal Kombat games. He can also summon his weapon called the Wrath Hammer, and he can use it to smash his opponents over their heads, just like Shao Kahn himself. It can also cause them to be stunned, allowing for a free hit for Dark Kahn. Dark Kahn also has a meteor-like fireball called the Explosive Blast, which he can fire and throw out of his hands, which, yeah, that's basically impressive. He also has the Emperor's Shield, making him do the uppercut-like moves, and not only that he can throw a force field for a split second to defeat projectiles, but he can also knock his opponents off his or her feet. Now, Dark Kahn can also grab and punch by the neck and launches a flaming fist at his opponents. Dark Kahn also has the Enrage ability, causing him to roar as he flashes yellow and causes his Rage Meteor to refill slightly. He also has the free fall super move, making him use his Wrath Hammer and does a overheard swing and smash his opponents down. Now, when it comes to his feats, there's not much, but he is very impressive. He has blended both the DC and Mortal Kombat universes with his power. He took out his numerous enemies by having them turn on each other when he uses the Rage on to hypnotize the Mortal Kombat and DC characters to fight each other during the end of the game, and usually when the Mortal Kombat characters and DC characters cross paths with each other. However, despite being one of the most toughest enemies in both Mortal Kombat and DC, Dark Kahn does have weaknesses, because Dark Kahn doesn't really appear until the end of the game, and he also has lost to both Raiden and Superman. But overall, Dark Kahn is a dangerous brute fusion force and is both a nightmare of the Mortal Kombat and DC universes. From one fusion villain to another, let's talk about Ultron Sigma. Now, Ultron Sigma is the fusion form of an alliance of Ultron from Marvel and Sigma from Capcom, usually from Mega Man X, and he is the main antagonist of Mortal Kombat, well, not Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Thought is meant as a pawn of scheme conducted by Jedediah to combine the Capcom and Marvel universes for his agenda. Ultron encounters Sigma while displaced in Adel City. These two artificial beings have found a way in their immature loathing towards the organic life and needs to purge it, which leads them to join forces as Ultron Sigma. The resulting being using the space and reality stones to reveal Jedediah's intent and merge the universes entirely to become the god of the newborn universe. Now it's time to talk about his powers and abilities. Now, Ultron Sigma has many lists of powers like the Death Ray, the Sigma Virus, Sigma Saber, Ultron Sentries, the Life Absorption, and electricity manipulation. Ultron Sigma also has the Infinity Stones. The Reality Stone can locally or universally alters the natural laws of the universe to wielder's will, draining the life force of laser beings who possesses it. Ultron Sigma can also use the Reality Stone to fire a homing projectile, and he also has the Space Stone, which is limitless, has a limitless manipulation of space, the creation of the wormholes, also, and etc. So when Ultron Sigma uses the Space Stone, he can also pull the opponents towards him, or seal them within the box-shaped space that only can move through. Now, Ultron Sigma is one of the dangerous villains that the Marvel characters and Capcom characters has ever faced. He merges the Marvel and Capcom universes into a slaughter universe with the Space and Reality Stones. He has bested Mega Man X, Thor, Nathan, Spencer, and the other characters from both universes. Sigma's virus makes Ultron more powerful. He has conquered X-Guard slightly handily and sabotaged all of his inhabitants, including Thor, and he has beat and captured Thanos in their first encounter, deflected Thor's Mjolnir, caught and threw Captain America's shield right back at Captain America. The Soul Stone has shown Dante that 4 Infinity Stones are not enough to take down Ultron Sigma himself. But Ultron Sigma does have his own share of weaknesses, because for starters, he has a massive superiority of a god complexes. He suffers from both Ultron and Sigma's overconfidence, vulnerable to large amounts of electricity due to his mechanical body, was defeated by Thanos in the second encounter. He has failed to wield the Soul Stone due to lacking the soul, causing Ultron Omega's near limitless power, comes at the cost of regeneration, and he was also ultimately killed by Mega Man X's Infinity Buster. But overall, despite all of his flaws, Ultron Sigma is one of the ultimate organic life forms and a god with the stones to destroy the Marvel and the Capcom universes. Alright everybody, now that I analyze these two characters, it's time for me to talk about who would win this fight. Now, I gotta say, this is actually, out of all of these requested matchups for characters face-off, this is really interesting, because both Dark Kahn and Ultron Sigma are technically one of the most dangerous opponents that any crossover universes has ever faced. These two are the fusions of two villains. One is a comic book villain and the other one's a video game villain. And if these two actually collide at each other, nobody is safe. And I mean nobody in either the Mortal Kombat, DC, Marvel, or Capcom universes aren't safe with these two dangerous fusion villains will collide at each other. Now, in terms of who do I think is going to win in this battle, this is actually going to be extremely tough because both of them are extremely powerful in their own ways. But by looking at both Mortal Kombat versus DC as well as Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, I do have a strong feeling that I do think that Ultron Sigma might win. And if you guys think Dark Kahn would win, that's great. That's totally fine. Let me know why in the comments. But allow me to explain why I think Ultron Sigma wins. Let's take a look at what these characters have when it comes to an advantages. So let's start with Dark Kahn. So when it comes to strength as well as battle IQ, experience, as well as combat, Dark Kahn actually has those, because Dark Kahn has known for fighting the other Mortal Kombat and DC characters, mostly when he went toe-to-toe against Superman and Raiden during the end of the game. And he pretty much like gives them a knuckle sandwich, despite that he lost to both Raiden and Superman during the final battle. And he's also really tough, you know, for a fusion between Darkseid and Shao Kahn. And those are pretty much like the advantages. And also he is actually really good in hand-to-hand combat skills. And he's also extremely experienced when it comes to fighting. But those are the things that that Dark Kahn has. But as for Ultron Sigma has a lot of advantages over Dark Kahn. And what he has is that Ultron Sigma is slightly faster. He's actually much more durable, while Dark Kahn is durable himself. But Ultron Sigma can take all the punishments from either the characters from Marvel or Capcom, like Spider-Man, Ryu, Rocket Raccoon, Gamora, Chun-Li, Morgan, Ghost Rider, Captain America, Nathan or Dante, and a couple other characters from both Capcom and Marvel. Ultron Sigma has known for like taking down the Avengers. Even when the Avengers and the Capcom characters, even some from Street Fighter, worked together as a team, they were still no match for Ultron Sigma because of like how overly powerful and dangerous he is. And as for intelligence, Ultron Sigma does have the intelligence factor because Ultron Sigma is actually a fusion of Ultron and Sigma, and both of them actually do have both of them actually really do have great levels of intelligence. I'm not saying that Dark Kahn is dumb, because I'm not saying he's not a dumb brute. He is very strong, don't get me wrong, but he definitely is not as intelligent as Ultron Sigma. And Ultron Sigma also has the abilities advantage as well. While Dark Kahn does have impressive abilities, usually when he shoots like fireballs out of his hands, and he has like the rage that controls the DC and Mortal Kombat characters, but the abilities that Ultron Sigma has, like with the Affinity Stones as well as the Sigma Virus, yeah, I don't know if Dark Kahn can actually handle this. Now, I know you guys are wondering what happens if Dark Kahn uses the rage on Ultron Sigma, and what if Ultron Sigma actually touches Dark Kahn and they're trying to mind control each other? Now, I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but like if they tried to do that to each other, that would be extremely insane, and nobody is safe when these two characters go at it. And I mean, nobody is safe from these two characters in a one-on-one fight. On the other hand, if Ultron Sigma actually did become his final form called Ultron Omega, then I think Dark Kahn is going to be a lot of trouble, because not only because Ultron Sigma actually has more forms than Dark Kahn, but like Ultron Omega is actually much more larger and definitely has like the size advantage over Dark Kahn, while Dark Kahn does have the strength, combat, battle IQ, as well as experience. But everything that Ultron Sigma has would definitely outclass Dark Kahn. Now, I do think this actually would be a very dangerous fight, but in terms of like who would win in a one-on-one fight, this is actually going to be really tough, like I said during the beginning of the debate of this video. But if these two fusion villains go at it in a one-on-one fight, then it's going to be pretty messed up, and then the whole and pretty much like the universes would be destroyed, and I think Ultron Sigma would most likely outclass Dark Kahn. So unfortunately, I don't see Dark Kahn winning this fight. Now, I'm not saying Dark Kahn is weak. I'm not saying he's a pushover, but he really does have some really good experience when it comes to strength, combat, as well as experience. But everything that Ultron Sigma has in his own pocket is actually superior, especially when it comes to intelligence, weaponry, abilities, intelligence, durability, as well as speed. And also Ultron Sigma can fly while Dark Kahn can't. So yeah, this actually would be very impressive when these two characters go at it. And like I mentioned, and I'm going to say this the last time, nobody in the universes from Mortal Kombat, DC, Marvel, or Capcom are safe with these two characters fighting. Nobody is safe from this one. So looks like in the end, guys, Dark Kahn has been blown up. The winner is Ultron Sigma.
Imbecile! We are invincible!
So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on the notifications. And what did you guys think of my debate? Did you think Dark Kahn is going to destroy Ultron Sigma, or do you think Ultron Sigma is going to defeat Dark Kahn? Let me know in the comments below, and stay tuned for the next episode of Characters Face Off, which I'm going to be working on next. And stay tuned that I'm going to be making some other videos, especially for the upcoming spooky season, since Halloween is going to be around the corner, even though we're still in August. And yeah, that's all I got to say. And I want to say thank you so much for supporting me, and I support you guys, and I really enjoy you guys listening to me and just watching my videos for entertainment purposes. So yeah, so that's all I got to say for today. So hope you guys enjoyed this Characters Face Off episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see you guys next time. And I hope you guys had a good day and take care of yourselves. So long, folks.